Hello, love reaching communities. Just wanted to send a quick thank you to all the women who participated in the series this month. Really appreciate you taking up your time and being able to speak about God and encourage others who are watching this. Also wanted to send a quick shout out to all the beautiful women. You guys are amazing. We are awesome. We are princesses and daughters of the Most High, and we constantly walk with our head held high as we do not want to drop our crowns. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for participating. Hope the rest of the series encourages you. So for the very last time this month, well, for the very last time this year, happy Women's Month and enjoy the video.
Hello, love reaching communities. As you might know, we are busy with a series for Women's Month, and we are looking at different women in the Bible. Today, I will be taking a look at Esther. And I know for a lot of girls, she is definitely the favorite woman in the Bible because of her beauty and her courage to stand up for what she believes in. So yes, let's take a look. In Esther 4 verse 14, it says, "For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. But you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this." And I think the concept of time is very prominent in this verse. And I think as human beings, we always wanted to be in control of time and understand time and plan our time. But God is outside of time. And he's so in control of time, even though he is outside of it. And when I look at the relationship between God and Esther, I see that he had called her for a specific time and a specific purpose. In the beginning of the book of Esther, we see that the king has a banquet, and then he calls for his wife, at that time it is Vashti, to come to him, and she refused. And the men who was present there, they begin to talk to each other and say, well, if Vashti is going to get away with this, our women and our wives are going to get rebellious. So at the end of that story, Vashti gets taken off the throne and she's banished, and yeah, that's where it ends. And then there's a beauty pageant, and Esther comes into the story. And we all know that Esther gets chosen to be the new queen. A few things happened in the book of Esther, and as we all know, there was an edict issued that on the 13th day of the 12th month on the Hebrew calendar, all the Jews were planning to plunder them. And Mordecai and Esther were Jews, and I think that stress to know that there will come a day where all you and all your people will be plundered, I can't imagine that fear. And it is with that fear and that mourning that Mordecai sends a messenger to Vashti because he can't go to the palace. And there's a whole story about him tearing his clothes and just mourning for his people. But anyway, he sends a messenger that you have to intervene for the Jews. And this message is so direct and straight. And it's almost like a command that Mordecai is giving Esther, telling her that you are the hope that we have now. It's your place. You were called for such a time as this to save our people. And Esther's first response is, you know what happens to people that just enter into the throne room of the king. They will get killed if they weren't summoned. And Mordecai again says, if you don't go, I know that God will send someone else. But don't you think that you were specifically called to do this job in a time such as this? And then Esther agrees, and she fasts, and she asks them to fast with her, and they pray, and then she goes. And I'm so relieved that we don't live in a time where you need to be summoned to see your husband. But I do think it was another level of stress. Sometimes I will avoid conversations. I will avoid going to a room to avoid conflict or to protect relationships. But this was something else. Her life depended on that. She didn't know how the king would respond. And we all know that the story has a beautiful ending, and that Esther had the courage to go to the king, and he listened, and yes, and the courage of a young girl saved a nation. But I want to challenge you today to look at the time that we are living in, living through a pandemic, in a time where so many families are struggling financially, where so many people are emotionally just down. I do think that after post-corona, we will hear about the emotional effect it had on the people of the world. But while we're in it, why don't we make an effort to reach out to those in need? I think we have become so comfortable, even more comfortable in our comfort zone than before Corona, where we didn't even have to get dressed to go to work, where we didn't need to go outside to see people. We could have the excuse of it's lockdown and I don't want to see people and I don't have to see people because of lockdown. But may we embrace the fact that we still have technology and the lights and restrictions now to reach out to people and to make an effort to love and to still preach the gospel in times such as this. So yes, maybe you were called for a time such as this.